Believe it or not, getting it all done is actually possible, even if you're working a full-time job. And I know, you're already starting to doubt my legitimacy because no one can actually possibly get it all done. But I'd like to challenge you a little bit to look at it from a different perspective and just start by believing what if it could be possible to get it all done. And here's the thing, I can understand where you're coming from because I used to be just like you and believe it was impossible too. And I just had to change a few things and look at the world from not what are the problems, but what are the solutions that are available to me if I just opened up my mind to believe and get curious about what could be possible if I set my mind to believing I could get it all done. And while you might be questioning my legitimacy, which I don't blame you because I was there once too, I am living proof that it is actually possible to not only work full time, but to get all of the things that you have on your priority and to do list done in the same 24 hours that you and I both have. And listen, I am not one of those wealthy, have it all figured out, have someone coming into my house, cleaning the house kind of people. It's not me. But what I am is a single mom who works a full time job who refused to give up on my dream that I could have it all and I could provide it all for my kids too. So this is what I did. But before we get into it, let's start by taking a step back and defining first and foremost what it means to get it all done. Like, what does that mean to you? Now, I'm going to share with you what it means to me. I find that getting it all done meant that I needed to have some kind of way to work my full time job, to show up and be a good quality mom, the best version of myself as a mom. I don't aim for perfection, just the version of myself that shows up with the best available to me at the moment in the time for my kids. And I wanted to be able to take care of myself so that I could pour into being the best mom for my kids and being productive at work. And so the first thing I want you to do is let me know down in the comments below, what does doing it all mean for you? And if you're not quite sure how to weed out what that means, you have to start by doing this number 2 step, which is looking at your values, what actually is important to you. So here's the thing, you might actually be living your mom's dream or your grandma's dream or your dad's dream or like your partner's dream for what it meant to be a wife, or your children's concept of what they tell you that is a mom is supposed to be because of what their friend's mom is. But that's not going to be sustainable for you or realistic for you because your goal is to get it all done your way by your definition, which means you have to be really clear on what you value. So for me, I value taking good care of myself, and that even broken down and outlined in getting good sleep, moving my body, eating pretty well, and making time for journaling and my artist dates, which is basically taking myself out on a date once a week. It's also important for me, number 2, to make sure that I am able to serve in some kind of way. And that's really what I find I have linked the value to going to work every day, is being able to go to my job and serve my community at work and feel that I'm giving back. I have the benefit of working at a library, so I am pouring into my community at large scale by pouring into the people that I serve by training and providing insight on best practices for showing up as a human at a job. And then 3, being the best mom that I can be. And to me, I really whittled that down to being present with my kids, being the best version of myself with my kids, which really leads back into my number 1 value, which is self-care. If I'm not getting enough sleep, if I'm not moving my body, if I'm not taking care of myself and pouring into myself, I can't do that for my kids. And that doesn't mean that I need to give hours and hours a week to pouring into myself. I don't find that I need to spend hours and hours of time to pour into myself. I just need to find intentional time to pour into myself so that I can also find intentional time to pour into my beings. So let's take a step back. We've already kind of decided that you're going to first, step 1, define what it means to do it all for yourself. By number 2, being clear on what you actually value, what's important to you to be able to get it all done. Are you truly going after the things that you care about, or are you going after the things that someone else told you to care about? But before we move on to the next thing, I think it's really important for you to identify where you might have some old stale beliefs that aren't working for you. Most single parents have a few beliefs in common. One is that we need to balance everything. It has to be an even split between home and work, or self-care and taking care of your children, or whatever it is and whatever it is. Like, we have this 50-50 balance mindset, and that's just not really true. Balance doesn't look like all the time, 50-50 split, but balance instead looks like being intentional and dividing your days and hours and weeks the way that they can, so that when you look at the whole overarching view of the whole year, you can see that you've balanced enough time with your children and with yourself, at work and at home, and so on and so forth. So balance isn't about every single day looking the same 50-50. Balance is the bigger picture view where you can see that overall you've given yourself the opportunity to be intentional about balancing time with your family, time for yourself, time at work, and time for your home. Another myth that a lot of single working parents feel like is that there's just no way to feel energized after putting in your 8 to 10 hours at your 9 to 5 job. And again, this is not actually accurate. I'm huge on human design. And even if it wasn't human design, there's other areas where I've gone and done something like gardened in my yard when it's a nice, warm, sunny day. It's hot out there. I'm wearing a tank top and t-shirts and still feeling extra sweaty, but I still feel energized after being out in my yard doing this thing that I love for 4 hours or 8 hours. I've definitely sat and planted a garden for up to 6 hours in my yard, and I still feel energized afterward. That's because there are certain tasks and certain things that we can do in life that give us energy. So I absolutely believe that if you are doing a job that you love, that you can be energized from that job and come home and still be able to pour into your kids. Now, that's going to bring up a whole other set of questions and frustrations, and that's a privilege, and you're not wrong. I just want you to start expanding your mind to look at other possibilities, because if you have it closed down to think that I have to go to work, it has to be 8 to 10 hours, I'm going to come home, I'm going to be exhausted, and that's the only idea that you have, you're also going to lose out on the opportunity to see that there are other opportunities. Yes, you might be in the job that you're in right now, you might not be energized when you get home, but if you opened up and expanded your mind to believe that there could be another job, there could be another position for you that could energize you, wouldn't that be great to put yourself in a position that you can go and find that job? And that goes back to what I was mentioning about human design. If you are leaning into your authority and your strategy, then you would probably be more likely to have these things, these opportunities come in front of you that give you chances to see these other opportunities, these other jobs, these other experiences that you could have by listening to your authority and your strategy. If you want to know more about that, I'm going to talk more about that in the coming weeks, but let me know in the comments below, because if I need to move up that plan, that theme, that topic, then I will. The other myth that a lot of single working parents think is that they don't have enough money. And I was there too. I didn't feel like I had enough money. I didn't feel like I had enough time. And I definitely didn't feel like I had enough energy. And here's the thing. You can find free things to do with your children. They just want the experience and the opportunity to spend time with you. You don't have to have a lot of money. It might not be trips to Disneyland. I remember very specifically feeling really jealous when one of my girlfriends had like this whole trip to Disneyland planned, and I was like, I can barely afford to put food on the table. But I know that when I take my kids to, let's say, the park and go play and just give them time and go run through the grass with them, they are just as fulfilled, just as excited. I would argue even more excited sometimes than when we've gone to, like today we went to an air show and it was so much fun and it was so amazing, but we were exhausted when we got home. There was a lot of people. It was hot outside. We were there. Like, once you get there, you feel like you are kind of obligated to stay for many hours because, it's a whole event and to do. Whereas if we go to the park and we get tired, we know that we can come home and go back later if we want to, because it's not a big to do. So there is value in finding free experiences where you are intentional about spending that 30, 60, 90 minutes with your kids and not having to spend a lot of money. And again, start small. Start thinking about, how can I bring experiences to my children in this world with the money that we do have? Because it's a lie to think that money does not to some extent buy happiness, but don't wait for money to start having experiences that are happy now. But back to the point that thriving single parents, like myself, and you, if you take this advice, can do it all. It really only takes 5 simple steps Aside from figuring out your values and making the decision to change your mindset and believe that you can do it all, especially once you figure out what that means for you. The 5 simple steps. First and foremost, be intentional. I'm intentional by using a bujo, my bullet journal, and in my bullet journal, I'm able to write down everything that I need to for my home, for my family, for my work, and for myself. Everything is in one place. It allows me to be intentional about what time I'm spending. Now, I have ADHD. I was diagnosed the end of last year, and I thought that I was crazy because I can't write something down and then just stick with it. But the thing is, when I write something down, it frees it from being in my head, and I know that I'm going to get back to it later. So I write everything down in my bullet journal so that I can come back to it and touch base with it so that I know that I want to do this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing for home, work, family, and self. And it allows me to be intentional because I have those ideas on paper. Being intentional is the first step to being able to get it all done. The second goes back to what I was saying before about making sure that the things that you're choosing to do are values based. I like to use a technique that I call the 5 whys. So when you're deciding that you want to do something, you want to get really clear about why you want to do it. So before you take that step, before you write it down in your bullet journal, you ask yourself, why do I want to do this? And then you come up with your answer. And then you ask it a second time, but why? Then you go deeper and you ask yourself why 5 times. And the purpose of this is to get down to what is the value that you are leaning into that's really important to you. So let's talk about the air show for the example. Again, busy, hot, outdoors, loud. Not things that really were excited. But when I said, I'm going to go to this air show, why? I've been talking about wanting to provide experiences for my kids for a really long time. Why do you want to have experiences for your kids? Well, it's important for me for them to know that life is more than just school and work, but that there are things that are taking place around us that give us an opportunity to interact with our community. Why is that important to you? Well, getting out into the community allows us to see that there are different people and different things going on and different belief systems all wrapped up. I'm not big on fighter jets and the things that go along with that, but other people are, and those people are providing some sense of security for our country. Why is that important to you? Well, I want my kids to be open-minded. I want them to understand that life is more than our own beliefs, but it's this mixing bowl or this salad of all these different people and beliefs. And having these different people and beliefs allows us to learn and deepen the culture and community around us. Why is that important to you? Because I think it's important to be with people and to see the humanness in people and to express love and acceptance to people, and so on and so forth. So it really gets into for me, the value of love and connection within community. Even though it started out with, we're going to this air show, it got to the value for me that is loving others and connecting within our community. Number 3, and I've kind of talked about this before, but it's this whole concept of multifunctional tasks. So going back to not needing to go to a theme park or really expensive activities, my kids and I, this is going to sound crazy, but we play a game when I go outside to clean up dog poop. The kids love to come outside with me. I'm cleaning up the dog poop, and the kids chase the dog around, which gives him exercise while they yell like, oh my gosh, he left another one over here. And like, it's this game of they help like identify where the poop is. I go out and I pick it up, and then they chase the dog around and tell him that he left like golden nuggets for us to have to clean up, and like, he's such a naughty dog, and like, it's a silly funny game. Everyone's getting exercise and we're intentional and bonding. But again, it's a multifunctional task. I am outside getting the chore done that is not the best exciting chore. They are outside having fun with their dog and with their mom while we're getting the chore done. It's a multifunctional task. This allows us to spend time together being silly while I am also taking care of the home care that needs to be taken care of so we don't have an overrun backyard with dog poo. And again, I don't pay anyone to do it. I have figured out ways to make our chores multifunctional so that we can spend time together and bond while also getting something additional done. Another way that thriving single parents get it all done, like myself, is micro habits. So micro habits basically means fitting things in where you can, not thinking that you need to have an hour at the gym to get a workout in, but how can I use my 2 15-minute breaks and my hour lunch every single day to add in that benefit or that self-care time for myself? I also incorporate my artist day into that time. For 1 hour on Fridays, I can leave my job and use my lunch to go out into the world and do something that's just for me. I haven't done this yet. I do my own nails, but one of my coworkers, she goes, and every couple of weeks she goes for her lunch and she gets her nails done. Another one goes and gets a massage. She does a 45-minute massage so that she has the before and after and is only gone for about an hour. So I'm just saying, think outside of the box and use your human design to help you come up with the micro habits that are yeses for you. It's going to look different for everybody. For me, as a generator, I have to ask myself yes or no, this or that questions before I make the decision. And I just trust what my sacral response is before I go and do the things. But I got a lot of yeses when it came to giving up feeling the need to work out before and after work and saying yes to figuring out how to incorporate movement into my day-to-day while I'm at work. I'm not going to be going and competing in any CrossFit events, but I know I'm taking care of my health so that I can lean into my self-care and be a better mom when I get home. Okay, before I get to the fifth and last one, you have to let me know in the comments below. What is your human design type? So I can give you some helpful tips on how you can use that to incorporate these 5 strategies into your single parenting, full-time working, everyday to do so that you can start feeling like you are one step closer to getting it all done. All right. So that leads us to the final step. And please, if this has been at all helpful, you got anything new or information out of it, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button below and the bell so that you get notified next time the videos go live. I'm here every Tuesday for you. Fifth and final thing that thriving single parents do to get it all done is shifting their mindset. And the mindset shift that you need really is to ask yourself the question, who am I? Not who does my mom want me to be? Not how does my sister show up? Not what would society say makes me a perfect mom? But who am I? And go and use your human design chart to help you determine who you are, to get really deep and understanding. And if nothing else, just understand your type, which is, are you a generator, manifesting generator, manifester, projector, reflector? Understand your strategy and understand your authority. If you can get those 3 things down and really shift how you respond to the world, then you are going to be so much closer to understanding yourself and what you need to do to get it all done. If you don't yet have your human design chart, I will put a link to get a free chart down below and take a look at what your type and strategy and authority are. And let me know in the comments what you find out about your type. And again, I will let you know one strategy, one tip specific to you and your design that will help you get it all done. That's all for now. Bye.